So I just got back from the theater watching Terrifier 2. It's written, directed, and produced by Damien Leone, and it is a direct sequel to the 2016 film Terrifier. It features the return of David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown. It also stars Lauren LaVera and Elliot Fullam. So holy shit, this movie is savage. It lets you know right from the jump that this isn't anything to take serious at all. You have to throw logic out the window. This is a fantasy world. In a lot of ways, it reminded me of a Freddy Krueger nightmare, just this hellscape. But right from the beginning, there's this wonderful balance of humor and gore and just brutal violence. Really the opening, the cold open, so to speak, to this movie is a lot of fun, and it was one of my favorite parts of the movie. It's just laugh out loud funny right from the jump. I felt like there was a lot more uniqueness to the visuals in this than even in the original. It just felt like there was more money and more time put into this, so he was able to really kind of branch out and do these wild imagery things that are just colorful and fun and just wild, man. There's so many wild visuals in this movie. The acting did bother me some, because at one time I would find myself loving the characters and enjoying these things about the characters, and then a second later just hating them, being annoyed by them, and just wishing that they would go away. It was this weird thing going on. A lot of it is you can tell that these aren't the most high level actors, and even though there were moments that all of them did perform pretty well, there were also times where they were just wooden, or it just didn't feel like, it took you out of the movie. The only acting that was pretty bad, and I don't like to shit on kids, was the younger brother. There were times where it definitely was cringy, man, and I was just like, hard to watch without being completely sucked out of this movie and just being straight up annoyed. But a movie like this, you kind of expect some campy, silly, over-the-top acting, it to not be the greatest. That's kind of not why we're here, right? And once again, David Howard Thornton is amazing as Art the Clown. He just absolutely carries this movie. He's so funny, so charismatic, everything from the first movie, but just 10 times more in this movie. There is so many laugh out loud moments that he has with just his facial expressions, things that he does, absolutely hilarious in this movie.
You're really weird, you know that?
The basic premise is about this teenage girl and her brother who start to see these visions and start to find out and figure out that Art the Clown may be still alive. They start seeing images of him and these things and start thinking that maybe he's still out there somewhere and stalking them. They don't know why, but that he's stalking them. You also see it from Art's point of view, where he's just randomly going around killing people. But it doesn't have a very vast, complex story. But there is more story than the first. That was my biggest problem with the first one, is it looked amazing, the special effects were on point, but there wasn't really any story to it. This one does have better dialogue and much more of a story to it, but it's still not anything complex. There's still not a ton to it, but there is at least a little more meat on the bone. One of my favorite things about this movie, though, is the Halloween vibe. Man, it really has this vibe all over it that really reminded me of Halloween 1978 in a lot of ways. It's just so Halloween, just dripping in all these beautiful costumes and effects everywhere and leaves everywhere, and it just feels like Halloween night. And that, for me, I really appreciated that and had a lot of fun with it. It's a movie that I could definitely see putting on every year at the Halloween season because of just how soaked in Halloween it is. It's one of those movies I could see playing at a party in the background just for the visuals. And I actually really appreciated the music in this. It reminded me in a lot of ways of like a John Carpenter soundtrack, just a very throwback 1980s, early 90s slasher type of movie soundtrack. Overall, it just feels like a gory fever dream the whole time. Like you feel like you're in this nightmare. It's very dreamlike, much more than you could see that they really kind of started to figure out what they wanted to make Art the Clown and what they wanted to make the Terrifier movies. It just feels much more clear in this one that they want to have that dream kind of vibe. It reminded me of A Nightmare on Elm Street, but even more so, it reminded me of Phantasm, just how it has this otherworldly way about it, where the laws and rules and things don't apply the same here. And it just was twisted and fun at the same time. Very, very demented movie though. And to get into the gore, holy Christ, this movie's gory. Did it have a moment like the chainsaw scene, the bifurcation or whatever? I forget what you call that, but splitting the girl down the middle. Did it have a scene as shocking as that? I don't know if there was a scene that quite shocked me to that level, although I did expect going in that there was going to be a lot of gore and graphic stuff and just really wild things. So maybe it was that, but there was definitely still some shocking things and very, very gory. It is way more gory than the first. They had a much higher special effects budget in this, and it's very well executed. The special effects are amazing. The two things that really strike you with this movie is the special effects and just the practical gore that they put into this, and just the props. The props are amazing. There's so many just gorgeous scenes from one to the next. And that's also one of the things that I have to say negatively about it. It didn't really bother me too much, but in a lot of ways, it felt like it's a movie that just wants to go from the one scene to the next. And it doesn't care too much about the story and plot holes and the pacing, because in a lot of ways it feels disjointed. It feels like it drags way too long in a lot of sections, but at the same time, it just feels like it wants to just take you from one scene to another so they can do these amazing special effects and have these awesome sets and props, which I enjoyed. I very much enjoyed. But at the same time, when you're watching a movie, it doesn't have that movie quality in a lot of ways because it just feels very clunky and disjointed. But it is a movie, and in those ways, it kind of did fall short. Like I said, the props and set designs were amazing, but one in particular, and I won't spoil anything, but one in particular was this carnival location. And when you see it, you'll know what I mean. It's just amazing. I would love to know where they filmed it and how much they had to build and buy and create and how much was already there. Because if that place really exists, I want to go there right now. It's just incredible. Also, don't really expect to get any answers of the origins of art or any of the mysteries or questions you might have had from the first. This doesn't really answer them. If anything, it just brings up a lot more questions. There's so many wild things that happen that make you go, what? Excuse me? Like, what just happened? So that's now part of this world? And it's fun, but at the same time, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, and it definitely doesn't answer any questions. There's a lot of things that they kind of present to you in this, but don't give you any answers to why that exists. It's just like, this person's connected to this, and I'm not going to tell you why. You know, and I don't know, it was still fun though. I mean, it really was a fun movie. There's a song in this, and I don't know if it was in All Hallows Eve or if it was in Terrifier, and I just don't remember. I should have rewatched Terrifier, but I just didn't have time. But there's this song in this movie that is played quite a few times, and I think it's kind of Art the Clown's new theme song. And I could definitely see a lot of people singing that song after they leave, especially because it plays right at the end. And it's fun. It really is fun. I just had such a great time with this movie, and the ending really left me excited to see where this franchise is going to go in the future. All in all, this is a fun movie. Don't take it serious. Just go in and watch it for what it is. It's gory, it's campy, it's way over the top, it's clunky in ways, but all of it is just a great time, especially because the visuals and special effects are state of the art. This is just a really entertaining movie that I highly recommend you checking out as soon as you get a chance.
911? Do you have an emergency?
I want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to my patrons because you guys, your support matters so much to me. And if you would like to find out more about becoming a patron, the link is down in the description. And like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember, guys, horror can be fun. I will see you guys next time.